All right, we're back in the shop. Today we're putting some Viking triples together for the shop truck project. Pretty slick little truck. It's got a Detroit speed front suspension in it. It's got a 2015 Camaro IRS in the back, and we're putting some Viking triple. You can see right there, triple adjustable coilovers. And I still get calls from shops telling me, "Oh, how does that go together?" So we're going to go real quick through. This is a higher end install that we've got here. We know we've got the helper spring, heavy rate spring for autocross truck. So let's put one together real quick and kind of go step by step. No special tools. I guess there is a special tool. You just need to get a pair of snap ring pliers. I bought these. These are channel lock ones. You can get them Ace Hardware or wherever you get your tools at. You might even be able to get one of these at Harbor Freight if you have a Harbor Freight close to you. So when you get your Vikings in, of course they come with all the cool stuff that you need. So you got a locking ring, you got the collar for the spring, you got the upper cap. That's cool. Then a little tiny bag right here is kind of important for all the good stuff. Just dump it out and take a look what you get. You get two of the bearings. We use these bearings. It's called it's a 5/8 hole bearing. We call it a dash W when we do these. It's heavy duty, way better than using a rubber bushing. And if a 5/8 is too big, it does come with this cool sleeve that slips inside of it. There you go. That reduces the size down. It fits a ton of different applications. That's a neat setup. So I'll show you how to install those real fast. And inside the box, you get your decal. This is pretty slick here. This is don't throw any of these away. Everybody does. I don't know why, but it's right there. It's a triple adjustable tuning guide, and it has basic settings all on the back. Street, track, what you're looking at. That's always good. Don't throw any of that away. All right. Now let's open the shock up. That's nice. So, first thing you're going to do is you're going to get your snap ring pliers, and you're going to get inside the snap ring, just like that. Hold on, just like that, and it goes inside the side of the shock. So if you look closely inside the shock, there's a little groove right there. Can you see it? That's where the snap ring actually goes. So you take the snap ring, compress it, drop it in the groove, and you've got your snap ring in. Step number one, rotate it around. Carefully take your bearing and slip it in, because that's a very tight tolerance, so you're going to need to kind of rotate it, wiggle it around. Slips right in. See that? Then you take another one of your snap rings, and you're going to put it on the second groove in there. So let me put this down real quick. I'll show you. So we'll get the snap ring pliers in the holes on the snap ring. Compress it down. And then we're going to slip. Oh man, I fell right out. Hard to do. All right. Get it back in there. Take the snap ring plier, and you're going to put it inside the groove. Okay, wiggle it to get it out. Then what I often do is take the edge of the snap ring plier, you can push it in, and you'll hear it snap right into place. And there's the second snap ring holding your bearing in. That's a simple repeat process for the other side. Let's take a look. So real time, when you don't have to do it for the camera, it's pretty quick. Get that snap ring in there. Yep. All right. What we'll do is, I usually do this, get that in. Like I said, take the end of the plier, push it in, you'll hear it snap down into place. Okay, that one's in. That's pretty cool. All right, so you got a lower locking ring the lower locking ring, this side faces upwards, because what you're going to end up doing, that you want the smallest surface up against the collar. And the reason you want that, because if it's this wide surface against that wide surface, it'll just lock into place, and it'll almost be impossible to take apart. So having a smaller locking surface, I usually put a little bit of anti-seize on it, locks nicely up against there. Goes on real simple. Slides down over the top of everything. Take it all the way down to the bottom. Okay? Same thing with the second ring. Slips on. Come on. Alright, there it goes. So on these, we're going to use the thrust bearing. Okay, and the reason we're using a thrust bearing, so thrust bearing basically is a little bearing. You know, when the spring goes on here, it sits down here on the collar. So they give you a little washer that goes there, and you can put a little bit of anti-seize on it. But a thrust bearing kit will have this nice roller bearing on it, and then a ring to go above that. Okay, and the reason we use these on a lot of race cars is it reduces the amount of resistance or striction, whatever they call it, whatever they want to call it at the time, of the spring. And I'll explain why. Here, let me show you. So let's take the spring out. Spring is a spring, right? And it's wound in a circle. So as it compresses, it does have a slight bit of rotation to it. That rotation will work against the, it'll work against the collar, of your coilover. So what the thrust washer does, it allows that spring to have its little bit of rotation to help. Let's get it back down on there. Put the spring on it, and you'll be able to see really how freely, you know, it's a bearing. So now that moves. So you got a bearing down here on your ends, which move nice and free. And you have a bearing here, which allows the little bit of twist that happens on your spring. And, you know, when you go to adjust your ride height, if you do it often, like on a race car where you have to adjust the rear for roll center, up and down a little bit, front for traction, for anti-dive or anti-squat, having that little spring on there, you know, your little movement's only going to be 1/4 of an inch or so when you're adjusting. That helps. But let's take this spring back off, because actually we're going to put a helper spring on here, because that's such a heavy spring, almost won't be able to collapse it. So helper springs are really cool. There's a small lightweight spring that's designed to, they call it a take-up spring. It's designed to take up the space that's left behind when you ever seen a car or worked on a car where you jack it up and the springs loosen it? That's because it needs one of these, whether it's a coilover or a regular. That's easy. You slip that on. It's got a cool collar. The smaller side of the collar goes towards the helper spring, like that. Then you take your main spring, slip it on, push everything down. Yeah, everything down. Then you can slip the upper collar on. There you go. You just built a true triple adjustable autocross coilover with a take-up or helper spring, whatever they want to call it. Every company calls it different. How cool is that? All right, that was just a few minutes. This is a triple adjustable shock. So what they're talking about that is you see 2 knobs here, and that's your adjustment for compression, your adjustment for rebound, and then there's a small one down here, and that's also compression. So you have a high-speed compression, low-speed compression, and then rebound. And man, we could talk about what those do for another 40 minutes in another video. But anyways, I'm gonna keep building these. We got to put them on that truck, and then I got some other cars to work on today. Talk to you guys later. That was your basic Viking assembly.